We live in an age that believes it has conquered time. Our satellites measure the heavens, our archives preserve the past, our technology promises immortality through data. Yet buried beneath our feet are the remains of worlds that once believed the same. They too built cities, worshipped the stars, and imagined their greatness would last forever. But time had other plans. 12,000 years ago, Earth changed. It wasn't a slow drift of centuries, but a sudden, violent transformation. The great ice sheets that had blanketed the planet for millennia began to melt. Sea levels surged by more than 100 meters. Entire continents shifted from frozen wastelands to fertile plains. And somewhere in that chaos, whole civilizations, perhaps unknown to us, vanished. This is not mythology. This is the record of the Earth itself, written in stone, ice, and sediment. In Greenland's ice cores, scientists have found evidence of a cataclysmic climate swing around 12,900 years ago, an event they call the Younger Dryas. Temperatures plummeted within a single human lifetime. Glaciers that had retreated began advancing again. Megafauna, mammoths, giant sloths, saber-toothed cats died out in rapid succession. And for the humans who survived, the world was never the same again. The end of the last ice age was not merely a geological event. It was the dividing line between two versions of humanity, the hunter-gatherers of the deep past and the builders of civilization. Before that turning point, humans lived as nomads, scattered and small. After it, we see a sudden rise of monumental architecture, organized religion, agriculture, and writing. The spark of civilization ignited not long after disaster. At first glance, this looks like progress. But what if it's not the beginning of civilization we're seeing, but the rebuilding of one? All around the world, stories of a lost age survive in ancient memory. The Greeks called it Atlantis, a world destroyed by floods and earthquakes, swallowed by the sea. The Hindus spoke of cycles of yugas, ages of rise and collapse that repeat endlessly. The Maya, the Hopi, the Egyptians all had myths describing earlier worlds destroyed by fire, by water, by ice. Across cultures separated by oceans and time, the pattern repeats. Humanity rises, a catastrophe strikes, and time resets. For centuries, these stories were dismissed as allegory, until archaeology began to uncover evidence that some of those myths might hold truth. High on a plateau in southeastern Turkey, archaeologists uncovered something that changed everything we thought we knew about history. Göbekli Tepe. Massive circular enclosures of carved limestone pillars, arranged with astronomical precision, dating to around 9,500 BC. That's over 6,000 years before Stonehenge, 7,000 years before the pyramids of Egypt. Each pillar weighs up to 20 tons. They are decorated with animals, foxes, vultures, lions, snakes, all carved in high relief. And the most mysterious fact of all, the site was deliberately buried around 8,000 BC, as if sealed by its own builders. According to mainstream archaeology, humans at that time were supposed to be simple hunter-gatherers, with no agriculture, no writing, no complex tools. Yet someone built Göbekli Tepe, organized its construction, aligned it to the stars, and left behind symbols we still can't fully read. It's as if a culture with knowledge far beyond its time appeared suddenly out of nowhere, and then disappeared again. Was Göbekli Tepe the work of the first civilization after the last cataclysm? Or was it the last remnant of the one that came before? To answer that, we must understand the event that ended the Ice Age, the same event that may have ended a world. Around 12,900 years ago, something struck the Earth. A growing body of scientists, geologists, astronomers, and climate researchers believe that fragments of a disintegrating comet from the torrid meteor stream may have hit the North American ice sheet. The impact would have vaporized trillions of tons of ice, sending shock waves into the atmosphere, igniting wildfires across continents, and plunging the planet back into a brief, brutal ice age. This is the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, still debated but gaining evidence each year. In layers of sediment from this period, researchers have found microscopic spheres of melted glass, nanodiamonds, and high concentrations of platinum, materials created under extreme heat and pressure, consistent with cosmic impacts. These traces appear not just in one place, but across more than 20 sites in North America, Europe, and the Middle East. If true, it means humanity lived through a near-extinction event just as we were beginning to rise. The floods that followed reshaped the world. When the glaciers melted, sea levels rose by more than 120 meters. Vast coastal plains that once stretched across the globe, Doggerland in the North Sea, Sundaland in Southeast Asia, Beringia between Siberia and Alaska, were drowned forever. If civilizations had existed along those ancient coasts, their ruins would now lie beneath the ocean, invisible to us. And yet, fragments of their memory remain, not in stone, but in story. Legends of a great flood appear in nearly every culture on Earth. In Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh speaks of the gods drowning humanity for its pride. In the Bible, Noah's Ark rides a sea that covers the mountains. In India, the god Vishnu saves Manu from a deluge that wipes away the world. In the Americas, the Hopi speak of a flood that destroyed a previous race of men. Too many cultures, too far apart to be mere coincidence. So what if these weren't just stories? What if they were memories, fragments of collective trauma passed down through time? Humanity may have experienced a catastrophe so profound that it seared itself into myth. And when the survivors rebuilt, they built with memory, aligning temples to the stars, carving calendars into stone, measuring time as if to guard against its return. But here's the part we often miss. This pattern, this 12,000-year rhythm, might not be a single event. It might be the pulse of our planet. The Earth moves through cycles, orbital, magnetic, geological, that shape climate and life. Every 10,000 to 13,000 years, shifts in the planet's tilt, precession, and orbital eccentricity coincide with major changes in temperature and ice coverage. Some researchers note that these cycles align closely with known extinction pulses and cultural resets. To them, the number isn't coincidence, it's warning. If civilization resets every 12,000 years, then what we call ancient history may just be one frame in a repeating film. A film of creation, destruction, and rebirth, running again and again while we forget that we've been here before. It's an unsettling thought. We imagine ourselves as the first to reach this level of technology, the first to command the planet, the first to believe we can master nature. But what if we're not? What if others stood where we stand, confident, advanced, unprepared, and watched it all vanish in a single generation? We see hints of that possibility everywhere. The pyramids of Egypt show astronomical precision beyond necessity. The Sphinx bears signs of water erosion from rains that ended thousands of years before the Sahara existed. The megaliths of Baalbek in Lebanon contain stones weighing more than 1,000 tons, far beyond what any known ancient technology could move easily. Across the globe, from Peru to Indonesia, ancient sites appear older, stranger, and more precise than we can explain. And always, their builders vanish into silence. Archaeology is beginning to accept that the story of civilization is older than once thought. But how much older remains unknown. The deeper question is why the timeline keeps breaking, as if history itself resets every 12,000 years. If this pattern is real, it carries a message. Civilizations rise when the Earth is stable. They vanish when the cycle turns. And now, after 12 millennia of calm, the wheel is moving again. Climate shifts, magnetic poles wander, global systems strain under the weight of complexity. It's the same story told in sediment, in myth, in ruin. We are not outside of history. We are inside its next turning. In the next chapter, we'll explore what that turning might be, the evidence, the theories, the cosmic clockwork that might govern not just climate, but civilization itself. Because if the pattern is true, then the question isn't whether another reset will come. The question is when. If the story of humanity is older than we think, then something erased its first chapters. The ruins we see are not beginnings, they are restarts. And if this 12,000-year cycle of rise and collapse is real, then we must ask the next question. How does it work? The answer may lie not in myth, but in physics, in the heartbeat of the Earth itself. Every few thousand years, our planet undergoes a series of interconnected shifts. Its orbit changes shape ever so slightly. Its axis tilts and wobbles. Its magnetic field weakens, reverses, and rebuilds. Individually, these shifts seem harmless, tiny variations in a stable system. But together, they form a cosmic metronome that dictates the rhythm of ice ages, floods, droughts, and, perhaps, civilization. Scientists call them Milankovitch cycles, patterns in Earth's orbit that influence how sunlight reaches the planet. Roughly every 11,000 to 13,000 years, the wobble of Earth's axis reverses direction. When that happens, global temperatures shift rapidly, polar ice melts or refreezes, and sea levels surge. The last time this happened, 12,000 years ago, the world changed so dramatically that entire ecosystems vanished. But there's more. The Earth doesn't move alone. Our solar system drifts through clouds of debris, remnants of ancient comets and asteroids. One such stream, known as the Torrid Complex, crosses our orbit every few thousand years. It's filled with fragments of a giant comet that may have broken apart tens of thousands of years ago. And roughly every 12,000 years, Earth's orbit aligns with the densest part of that stream. Some astronomers now believe that this cycle may have delivered disaster before, and could again. The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis suggests that around 12,900 years ago, fragments from the Torrid Complex slammed into the northern hemisphere, striking the massive ice sheet that once covered Canada and the Arctic. The resulting explosions would have unleashed energy greater than thousands of nuclear bombs, melting vast glaciers, flooding coastlines, and igniting global wildfires. The skies would have darkened, sunlight blocked by ash and smoke. Crops would fail, temperatures would plunge, and species, including early human groups, would vanish. For years, mainstream science dismissed the idea as speculation. But over the last decade, evidence has begun to accumulate. Layers of sediment from this exact period contain materials formed only under immense heat: glassy microspherules, carbon spherules, platinum, and nanodiamonds. These traces are now found in North America, Europe, the Middle East, and South America, all dating to the same 1,000-year window. Coincidence seems unlikely. If this is true, then the cataclysm that ended the Ice Age was not random. It was part of a recurring cycle, a cosmic heartbeat that strikes the planet every 12,000 years. And perhaps ancient people knew this. Look closer at their monuments. Göbekli Tepe, with its stone animals carved into pillars, may not just be a temple, it may be a warning. Researchers from the University of Edinburgh found that some of its carvings align with constellations representing a date, around 10,950 BC, precisely when the Younger Dryas event began. In other words, Göbekli Tepe might be a memorial, a story in stone telling of a world destroyed by fire from the sky. And it's not alone. Across the globe, ancient structures show astronomical alignments that don't match the skies of their supposed construction dates. They match the skies of thousands of years earlier. The Sphinx in Egypt faces the constellation Leo as it appeared around 10,500 BC, the very era of the last global cataclysm. The pyramids of Giza mirror the belt of Orion as it appeared at the same time. Tiwanaku in Bolivia, once thought to be 1,500 years old, shows alignments consistent with being built over 10,000 years ago. Coincidence or collective memory? It's as if ancient builders across the world were synchronizing to the same cosmic clock, one based not on centuries, but on cataclysms. Even myths preserve these cycles. In Hindu cosmology, time is divided into yugas, ages of humanity that end in destruction and renewal. The cycle between the great floods is roughly 12,000 years. In Mayan calendars, the long count cycle, about 5,125 years, is 1/5 of a greater cycle of destruction and rebirth, spanning roughly 26,000 years, half of which is 12 to 13,000. Even Plato, writing in Timaeus, describes periodic cataclysms that erase civilizations caused by a declination of the bodies in the heavens. Different cultures, same number, same pattern. Why would they all describe the same timescale unless they were remembering the same trauma? Yet, we can't reduce it all to myth. There are earthly triggers too: massive volcanic eruptions, rapid climate oscillations, and geomagnetic changes that disrupt ecosystems. For instance, Earth's magnetic field, which shields us from cosmic radiation, weakens significantly every 12,000 years or so. Magnetic reversals, or near reversals, have been recorded in geological layers roughly at those intervals. When the field weakens, more solar and cosmic energy reaches Earth, destabilizing the atmosphere, triggering climate anomalies, and possibly affecting human biology itself. Now imagine if several of these cycles, orbital, impact, geomagnetic, converged in the same window of time. That convergence could explain why so many civilizations collapse around the same epochs. We've seen smaller echoes of it. Around 4,200 years ago, a global drought wave struck Egypt, Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and China, leading to widespread collapse. Around 1,200 BC, a similar wave toppled the Bronze Age world. Egypt, Mycenae, the Hittites, the Minoans. These aren't random, They're pulses of instability, perhaps fragments of a larger cycle still unfolding. Every time the world grows complex, it teeters. And when nature strikes, complexity becomes fragility. The pattern is almost mathematical. A civilization rises, it expands, connects, depends on delicate systems of trade, agriculture, and stability. Then comes an external shock, climate, impact, eruption, and everything that seemed permanent falls apart. The survivors scatter, remember, rebuild. But the memory becomes myth, and by the time the next cycle turns, the warning is forgotten. We might be repeating that mistake now. For over 10,000 years, humanity has lived in what geologists call the Holocene, a period of exceptional stability. Stable temperatures, predictable seasons, reliable coastlines. Every civilization we've ever known, from Sumer to Silicon Valley, was built within this rare calm. But recent data suggests the Holocene is ending. The planet's magnetic field is weakening faster than expected. Weather patterns grow chaotic. Sea levels are rising faster than models predicted. The torrid meteor stream, the same one suspected of causing the Younger Dryas impact, is due to become denser in the coming centuries, possibly even sooner. None of this means apocalypse is guaranteed, but it means the conditions that once triggered collapse are gathering again. What makes this moment different is scale. The last time, humanity was small, dispersed, primitive. Today, we are planetary. Our systems are interlocked: food, power, water, data, trade. If one breaks, the rest follow. In the past, a flood drowned a valley. Today, a single cyber attack, a single solar storm, or a chain reaction of climate events could ripple through every corner of civilization. The cycle hasn't changed. We have. And that might make the next reset the most devastating of all. But there's something else. Something both haunting and hopeful. Each collapse doesn't erase everything, it hides it. Buried beneath floodplains, under ocean floors, in the forgotten corners of deserts, lie the remains of those who came before. Stone walls buried under volcanic ash, structures beneath coral reefs that shouldn't exist. In 2016, sonar scans off the coast of India revealed an ancient city submerged under the Gulf of Khambhat, dated by some researchers to nearly 9,000 years ago. In Japan, off Yonaguni Island, divers found a vast stepped monument beneath the sea, its terraces shaped as if cut by human hands. Each new discovery pushes civilization further into the past, closer to that lost era. The pattern becomes undeniable. When the waters rose, they erased the map. And now, as the waters rise again, the same story may be repeating. Civilizations are fragile not because of their flaws, but because of their arrogance, the belief that stability is permanent. The ancients may have tried to warn us, encoding cycles in stone, in myth, in measurement. We saw them as superstition, but perhaps they were just better historians than we are. If the 12,000-year cycle holds true, then we are living at its edge, the moment between chapters, and the decisions we make now will determine whether we are remembered as the survivors or the forgotten. Because in the rhythm of time, destruction is not the enemy. Forgetting is. In the next part, we'll step into the final act. What happens when the cycle turns again? What a modern reset might look like? And how we can learn from the ruins of the last world to survive the rebirth of the next. Because the past doesn't just warn us, it calls us. Every story of collapse begins the same way, with silence. Not the silence of peace, but the silence before a storm. a world too confident to imagine it could end, a people too advanced to believe they could fall. That is where we are now. The pattern is older than us. Every 12,000 years, the world changes. Not slowly, suddenly. And when it does, everything we call civilization resets. Not by chance, not by myth, by design of nature itself. We are children of the last reset, the survivors of a planet reborn 12 millennia ago. And now, as that cosmic clock ticks again, the question is no longer if it will turn, but how ready we are when it does. Look around. The signs are familiar. Climate instability accelerating faster than any model predicted. Magnetic poles wandering across the Earth's surface. The North Pole moving nearly 40 miles each year. Solar activity increasing, with flares powerful enough to cripple satellites and power grids. Oceans warming, ice melting, weather breaking. And beneath it all, a growing sense that something larger is unfolding. A convergence of cycles, invisible but unstoppable. For those who study deep time, the parallels are haunting. The last time this happened, ice sheets collapsed and seas swallowed continents. Volcanic activity spiked as shifting crusts adjusted to the planet's weight redistribution. Meteors fell, temperatures plunged, and in a geological instant, 90% of life on Earth changed. Today, we have technology, satellites, science, but we also have fragility. We have built our civilization on complexity, and complexity is delicate. A single chain reaction, one natural or man-made disruption, could cascade across the world in days. A massive solar flare could wipe out the electrical grid. A comet fragment could impact an ocean and disrupt global weather for years. A magnetic reversal could scramble navigation, satellites, and power systems. A sudden temperature drop or crop failure could trigger famine and social collapse. Different triggers. Same result. If the 12,000-year cycle is real, we may already be inside its early stages. The Earth's magnetic field has weakened by nearly 10% in just a century. Ocean circulation is showing signs of slowing, the same patterns that preceded the Younger Dryas cooling. And according to orbital calculations, Earth is now once again entering the dense core of the torrid meteor stream, the same debris field believed to have struck the planet at the end of the last ice age. None of this guarantees catastrophe, but it guarantees instability. And history shows that instability is all it takes. Civilizations fall not because of a single blow, but because they forget how to adapt. They grow comfortable in the illusion of permanence. They mistake their technology for immunity. And when nature reminds them that they are temporary, it's already too late. Yet, buried inside that truth is a strange kind of hope. Because collapse is not annihilation, it's transformation. The end of one world is the beginning of another. And every time humanity has faced the abyss, it has rebuilt, smarter, faster, and wiser than before. Perhaps the ancients understood this. Maybe that's why so many ancient myths speak not just of destruction, but renewal. The flood that cleanses, the fire that purifies, the dawn that follows the dark age. They were not just recounting tragedy, they were describing renewal. But the lesson they tried to pass down was simple. You cannot stop the cycle, but you can prepare for it. What would that mean for us? It means remembering that resilience is not found in technology. It's found in adaptability. Civilizations that survive are those that decentralize, diversify, and respect the balance of the planet they depend on. The empires that fell built vertically, higher, richer, more complex, until they toppled under their own weight. The ones that lasted built horizontally, locally, flexibly, close to the earth. If another reset is coming, it will test not our power, but our humility. It will test whether we have learned from the ghosts of the last world. There's a strange symmetry to it. The thought that somewhere, 12,000 years ago, another civilization might have stood where we stand now, watching the skies, recording the signs, believing themselves masters of time. Maybe they too built wonders and monuments. Maybe they too thought they would be remembered. And maybe they are, in the faintest of ways, in the ruins under the sand, in the myths we dismiss as stories, in the stones of Göbekli Tepe, in the whisper of flood legends told by people who could not possibly have known each other. Their message crosses millennia. Remember us. Remember the cycle. And that's what we must do, because every monument we build, every story we tell, every technology we invent, all of it is temporary. The only permanence is the lesson we leave behind. 12,000 years from now, someone may dig through the layers of our own lost world. They'll find fragments, steel, glass, plastic, data, and wonder who we were. Maybe they'll ask the same question we ask of Atlantis, of the builders of Göbekli Tepe, of those who came before us. What happened to them? Did they vanish in ignorance? Or did they understand what was coming and face it with awareness? That answer is still being written by us, because this time we have the tools to see the cycle approaching. We can read the skies, the poles, the climate. We can measure deep time. We can remember, but only if we choose to. The real danger is not a comet or a storm. It's our belief that the pattern can't happen again. That modernity has replaced nature. That data can overwrite history. But the Earth doesn't care about our calendars. The universe doesn't negotiate with technology. Time will turn the page as it always does. And when it does, we will either be the first civilization to break the cycle, or the next one to be erased by it. The choice is still ours. Maybe the ancients weren't warning us of a disaster. Maybe they were reminding us that survival requires memory, that to endure, we must live with one eye on the stars and one on the soil beneath our feet, that the past is not behind us, it's beneath us, waiting to rise again. Every 12,000 years, time asks the same question. Who are you when the world resets? And every time, humanity must answer anew. Because the real mystery isn't why civilizations vanish. It's why we keep forgetting that they do.